Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that all is well at your homes and your businesses during this frigid weather that we're having, and everyone is remaining safe. We are so delighted to have you here for today's masterclass, Unlocking Your Competitive Advantage. We are delighted to have partnering with us again this year, the Society of Entrepreneurs, led by Pearson Crutcher. Our goal for this partnership is to provide a platform for professionals to glean from the wisdom of business leaders. So again, Pearson, we are just delighted to have you as a partner with us again this year. And right now, I want to take a pause to say thank you to our sponsors who have generously supported the work of the Small Business Council and our programming this year. So I want to give them an opportunity to share a little bit about their organizations. We have Jeff Kimbrough with Independent Bank. We have Matt Lubazinski with Wyatt, Tarrant and Combs, and with Cigna Healthcare, Christopher Bayaki. So in that order, if you all would come and share information about your organizations. And Jeff, you're up.
Awesome. Good morning, and thank you, Patricia. Good morning, everyone. Again, Jeff Kimbrough here with Independent Bank. Um, Glad to be with you all this morning. Independent Bank is a full-service bank here in the Memphis area, and we're here to help you with your business and personal needs as well. Um, we believe in our Memphis community, and we are happy to partner with the Chamber and the Small Business Council to help and support in bringing these wonderful events to you as much as we can. Um, if Independent Bank or myself can be of service to you and your business in any capacity, let's connect. And again, we thank you for being with us this morning, and let's talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good morning, everyone. This is Matt Lubazinski from Wyatt, Tarrant and Combs. We are a full-service law firm, so we can help you with anything you need in the legal area, so long as it's not criminal or family law. So if you need anything as things arise, feel free to give us a call over here at Wyatt, Tarrant and Combs. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Christopher.
Good morning, Greater Memphis Chamber. Thank you for having me today. My name is Christopher Bayaki, and I am Vice President of Sales at Cigna Healthcare in the states of Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Kentucky. At Cigna, our mission is to improve the health and vitality of those we serve. And we are partnering with the Greater Memphis Chamber to bring the best healthcare solutions to the Memphis community at the most affordable price. Specifically, we're offering two solutions. We are offering a solution to smaller businesses. So for businesses that have less than 25 employees, we are offering a small group fully insured product. And for businesses that have at least 25 enrolled employees, we are offering Cigna level funding. For those clients or employers that qualify for Cigna level funding, we are offering an exclusive 2% discount on premium to Memphis Chamber clients. So we're very excited about that. And my ask of you today is that you'll consider us when you're thinking about your benefits. We'd be honored to quote and show you our capabilities. And if you are interested in the program, I do encourage you to talk to your insurance broker. So thank you for having me today.
All right. Thank you, Christopher. Again, thank you to our generous sponsors, Independent Bank, Wyatt, Tarrant and Combs, and Cigna Healthcare. And now I will pass the baton over to Larry Robinson, who is our co-chair of the Small Business Council. He serves along with Meredith Hennessy as co-chair as well. And now class is in session. Larry?
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Now, we have a phenomenal, amazing person that we're bringing to you today from the Small Business Council. And I'm going to get it right into introducing this amazing dynamic woman. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around for a story of success that started way back when a 16-year-old high school student first dipped her toes into the consumer reporting waters at Equifax. Fast forward, and that same ambitious teenager, now known as the one and only Daphne T. Large, has transformed the background screening world with her brainchild, DataFax. By the age of 27, Daphne recognized a competitive advantage and fearlessly launched DataFax in 1989. What began as a humble mortgage credit reporting service rapidly expanded into a full suite of screening solutions. By 1992, she was helping employers check every background in the books. And if that weren't enough, she built a mortgage solutions division into a powerhouse, offering everything from tax return verifications to credit analytics before selling it in 2021. Now, DataFax sets the standard exclusively in national and international background screening across all 50 states and around the globe, in one of an elite 10% of firms accredited by the Professional Background Screeners Association, and has snagged a spot on HRO's Baker's Dozen Top Background Screeners list for the 6 straight years. That's right, folks. Her customers rave about her, and for good reason. So if you're looking for a tried and true entrepreneur success story and a keen insight into what it takes to build, grow, and evolve a thriving business, look no further. Let's give a warm welcome to the unstoppable force behind DataFax, Miss Daphne T. Large. Daphne.
Thank you, Larry. I hope I can live up to all that.
Well, I am sure you've already exceeded all of it. So listen, we're going to jump right into these questions, if you don't mind. Did I leave out anything, by the way?
No, you are great.
Uh, all right, well, here we go. First, let's start at the beginning. What sparked the idea for DataFax in the first place? And how did you figure out that special sauce or that secret sauce that sets you apart from everyone else?
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you all for having me today. And I'm sorry we can't be in person, but like great business people do, we pivot, right? So, Larry,
Absolutely.
what I would say to that is, some people really thought I was crazy because I was in the management development program at Equifax. I was on the rise, so to speak. But there was a unique situation that happened on a grander scale that really created an opportunity for me to go out on my own. There was a corporate decision that really struck a nerve with me.
Okay.
We had worked very hard at Equifax Services developing mortgage credit business and had frankly stolen a lot of business from the kind of only other game in town and a certain region in the country. And then Equifax made a decision because that company was going to join the family of companies of Equifax Services that we would have to stop competing. And all of those customers that we had stolen from them would
Mm-hmm.
go back to them by default. And I was like, basically, I just said, oh, hell no. That's not going to happen because if those clients wanted to be using them, they would be using them now. But they had chosen to use us, whether it was
Right.
price or service or whatever, they had made that choice. So I was very close to those customers. I was very close to our ops team that had worked so hard to build that relationship. And so that unique opportunity allowed me to leave along with 3 other Equifax employees and work in about 45, 60-day window. We brought up a DOS operating platform to produce our product. We had space in Clark Tower. We had report formats, contracts. I lined up customers. But everything happened very quickly in about 45 or 60 days. And on day one,
Mm-hmm.
in Clark Tower, before our furniture had even arrived, we were literally sitting on the floor. The fax
Okay.
machine was rolling with orders coming off. Because back then, 1989, that's how you did business, right? It was the fax
Right, right,
machine.
right, right.
And so the
Exactly.
marketing message that we had created was basically one line, and it said, yes, you do have a choice. And
Mhm.
we were the choice again. And those customers took a leap of faith with us, a grand leap of faith. They took a leap of
Mhm.
faith with our team. Our team took a leap of faith with me. They had job offers to go over
Right,
to the other company. And
right.
so we've never looked back, Larry. We've
Wow.
absolutely never looked back. And I think, when we talk about, how did we feel about our competitive advantage at that time?
Right.
I boil it down to having a vision. I have always had a strong competitive spirit. You have to want to win.
Mhm.
And my vision, I always have a vision of what success looks like. And I would encourage everybody to believe that you can and expect that you will. And then actually do what it takes to be successful. And you have to be a person of action.
Right.
And so I would say, in a nutshell, that was what launched our ability to compete in the first place.
What would you say is your secret sauce? What's that thing that really separates you?
I would say it's part of our founding philosophy from day one. Is if
Mhm.
we always take great care of our people, they will take great care of our customers, who in turn take care of DataFax. We've always been very customer centric. Now, make no mistake, we do not get it right all day, every day, 365. If we make a mistake, we're going to own it. But we've always put our people and our customers first. Everybody says that, but it's not
Mhm.
everybody lives it.
Now, we all hit a fork in the road. Um, can you tell us a specific time outside of that initial issue where you pivoted your strategy to keep your competitive advantage? And how did you make it happen?
Well, I'll tell you, it has happened several times. When you've been in business 35 years, it's kind of an ongoing evolution, especially
Right,
with technology.
right.
I think that, and we've been guilty of all this, falling into the Me Too category. Oh, me too. We do that too. We do that too. That's a mindset, and you fall prey to this shiny object syndrome sometimes, where you
Right,
start chasing products and services that a competitor offers, and you
right.
spend a lot of time and money creating something that you may actually sell very little of, but now you've wasted those resources. And it takes
Mm,
away from your core services, where your strengths are and where you're actually making money.
right.
So a number of times I've had to corral the team and learn to say no to good ideas. And that's something that Steve Jobs with Apple talked a lot
Mm,
about, learning to say no to good ideas. And we've had to self-correct a number of times there. I would also say it's important to define and declare who you are, and then market, 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 and be proud of that. It's hard to find your niche sometimes, because
mhm.
you're all over the place. You don't want to miss out on anything. But you've also got to know who you're not, right?
Right, right.
Who you're not, to stay ahead of the competition. It's hard sometimes, Larry, I think, to recognize you're drifting. You're kind of out in a
Mhm.
boat, and you see where you're going, but next thing you know, you've kind of drifted over here, and you got to pull everybody back. Um, I, we talk a lot at DataFax about, it's easy to be in the present box because that's where the action is. Things
Mhm.
are in front of you, they're coming at you, that's where you're making your money. But you've also got to have a strategy to help you be in the future box. But that box
Mhm.
is not knocking on your door all the time, right? It's just not,
Right.
you got to make time for that. And a number of times we found ourselves too much in the present box. The present box is paying your bills today. The future box is going to pay your bills tomorrow. So you better
Right,
spend some time there, right? You got to make time
right,
for that box.
right, right. All right. So, running a business mean you make some tough calls. How do you personally tackle big decisions when the stakes are high or the future feels uncertain?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's one of my personal strengths,
Okay.
and where I thrive. I don't hesitate to make tough decisions. I never have. I've always believed that if the going gets tough, the tough better get going, and you better get going fast. You just cannot hesitate. But and here's the deal: you cannot please all the people all the time. And sometimes we get sucked in trying to please all the people all the time. And consensus is nice, um,
Right.
but it's not required, it's not necessary, and you cannot wait for it. Many times, I'll go with my gut. I'm a real gut kind of person. I use a lot of common sense, and it's never failed me. However, I'll tell you this, I do like the black and white. I like the black and white of it, the numbers, all the metrics, and
Hmm.
and the hard data. I look at pros and cons, but I never ever get caught up in analysis paralysis. That's what I call when you got to have every answer to everything before you even make a move. I believe if you can get 75% of the data you want or need, you can make a pretty good decision. Because if you don't, you're going to cost yourself opportunities, people, customers, Now, a lot of times I'll make a decision alone. Most of the time, I'm seeking out counsel from our other leaders in the company. A lot of
Right.
times I'll go with their decision. A lot of times I go with my decision, but we're going to make a decision and we're going to make it as fast as we can. And, I've had to tell my team also, just because I ask for your opinion doesn't mean I'm going to take it. So don't be offended when I don't. Right. I got to go, the buck stops here. And if the ship sinks, I'm going to be responsible, but I got to make a decision.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Data facts has clearly evolved over time. How do you stay ahead of industry trends and keep innovation at the heart of everything you do?
Well, being in the consumer reporting business and background screening, and it's very technology driven, and it's evolved many times. It touches everything we do. It's at the foundation. Where we were and where we are today in technology and innovation are barely comparable. But it's funny because sometimes when people find out I'm in the background screening business, I think they think that it's some push button type thing, and you just screens are popping up, things are flying, and it's not nearly that glamorous. I promise, not like CSI or anything like that. Um, Something else that's the protection and the confidentiality of consumer data with all the data breaches out there and all the individual state and federal laws have increased tenfold in 35 years or 20-fold even. It's crazy. But we've always led the way in that area, Larry. We've always been an early adopter and proponent of those best practices. We're a founding member of the Professional Background Screeners Association, and we really hold ourselves to those highest levels of standards. Um, but that foundation of innovation and technology is just rooted in our good partnerships that we have. We have the right allies. We have strong internal and external business partners. And I can't reveal all our secrets, but we do deploy some pretty advanced technology in
Mhm.
all of our work, particularly the criminal work, and in the employment and education and some other monitoring type spaces. But I'm gonna tell you, without it, if you do not advance and with innovation, you will be out of business, particularly a business like ours. Um, I really think the root of it too is listening to the customers, and we have to stay in a state of continuous transformation.
Mm, wow. Transformation. That's a great word. That's a fantastic word. Um, Many of us, really get into situations with, competition, and are swamped by it. Daphne, what's your go-to advice for staying calm, staying focused, and staying relevant?
I love that question, Larry, because when I read that question, the first thing that came to my mind was just don't. Don't. Never let the competition steal your momentum or overwhelm you. Instead, you've got to remain confident, resolute, and certain that the business to be had in your space has to go somewhere, and it might as well be to you. You got to get out there and claim that piece. No one's going to give it to you. You got to ask for the business. You got to know who you are and what your differentiators are. I think more importantly, and sometimes we have delusions over here of who are our best customers, right? Because not everybody is your best customer. But when you figure it out, you got to market. And you got to ask yourself, what mind share do I even own of my potential customers? Do they think of me for all their needs for what I'm selling? Do they even know all that we offer? It's so frustrating when a customer of ours, a good customer, may go somewhere else for a product that we offer, but they didn't even know we offered it. And I'm
Wow.
gonna tell you this. I'll tell you what happens at that effect sometimes, and I bet this happens to some of you. We have 3 or 4 what I call, 1,000 pound, 800 pound gorilla type competitors.
Hmm.
They're like $500 million in
Right.
revenue, and our prospective customer is using one of those people, and they're not happy. And sometimes they don't even know they're not happy yet because they hadn't talked to us yet, but they're not happy. And in their space, they're about a 300 pound gorilla, let's say.
Okay.
But they convince themselves they need to use a behemoth company, right? I know some of y'all have run into this before. And I've told people before, well, Joe, what if all your customers thought they had to use the 800 pound company? You'd probably be out of business. And Joe, you're a 300 pound company. So why do you think you got to use the biggest the biggest one out there, and you're not happy? You've admitted you're not happy. DataFax is say a 300 pound company. And so I think it's about gaining confidence about who you are in your space and just getting real with your prospects and saying,
Right.
we're just like you. We understand you. We're just like you. Right. I've had customers go, that's probably the most common sense thing I've heard all day, you know, that
Hmm.
and we would get the business. But I would say, the main thing is, do not go down a rabbit hole worried about what they're doing, what your competition is doing. Right? You got to do what you can do. You got to market what you can do. You got to study your competition, but you cannot be obsessed with it. You cannot be paralyzed by it. You've got to get out there, and you can't be out in left field clueless. You got to know what your competition's doing, but don't try to be them. You got to be you, right? You got to be you.
That's powerful. Very powerful. Was there a challenge that really tested you and your brand's identity? And how did it come out? How did you come out stronger on the other side?
Well, I think it's something that we're constantly talking about around here. I don't think we've ever had a real identity crisis. I think, if,
Hmm.
moreover, we've tried to be everything to everybody sometimes.
Hmm.
And when you do that, you do run into customers that you're just not a good fit with. And
Mm.
you might have to divorce those customers sometimes, or they will divorce you. But by and large, we feel pretty strong about who we are.
Okay. 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 Is it all about revenue and growth? Or do you look at other metrics when you're measuring how effectively you're outpacing the competition?
Well, certainly revenue's important, but there's about 9 or 10 metrics I look at all the time, and about 10 more I look at every other month, every quarter. And I think it depends on what is the definition of success. What kind of success are we measuring in that question? I'll pick and choose and match up different metrics. I can tell you that, first thing I'm always asking is, if do customers love us? If they
Hmm.
don't, why? And what are we doing about it? But I'm looking at top line revenue, net revenue, which are different, certainly different in our business, the all-in profit, the EBITDA, the cash. Cash is king.
Hmm.
If you don't have enough cash, you can be making money on paper and go out of business, right? Customer survey data, we're constantly surveying our customers in different ways. Is the team happy and thriving? And especially in tough times, are we united? I'm really always looking at labor percentages against that revenue, particularly in our operations team, because they're the biggest bulk of our employees. And
Hmm.
this is month over month, year over year, years back. And the cost of goods sold in our business has skyrocketed.
Right.
and you got to measure that. Because when that goes up, something else better be going down, right? Because you're going to run out of money, you're going to run out of profit, But again, there's about 10 more metrics I look at. At the end of the day, Larry, we have to know our stats, my people sometimes don't like the truth. It's kind of like the old movie. You can't handle the truth. That you have to be able to face the truth. And if you don't like the metrics, you better figure out how to change it, because I'm gonna tell you what, it's all about results. I'm gonna say something that's not very popular. Nobody cares how hard you're working. Nobody cares. Unfortunately, nobody cares. It's about your results. You don't stay in business because everybody's working hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
sometimes we're not asking you to work harder, we're asking you to work different, because our customers expect results.
Right.
We better give it to them or they will find somebody else that will. And your
Exactly.
company needs results. So, we got to have the right people in the right seats doing the right jobs right, to quote Jim Collins, right?
Right.
That's what we have to do here.
Well, I'm gonna go off script just a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you to unpack a comment that you made around cash being king. To you, why is cash king?
Well, if you don't have cash, you can't handle any kind of crisis, right? Some entrepreneurs, sometimes young entrepreneurs, they have this thing, well, we're going to get rich quick. And some of them spend all the money they make, and then when they hit a crisis, they got nothing, right? When you hit COVID, you better have some cash in the bank, something like that. You can't grow without cash. Bankers aren't going to loan you money if you're not also investing in yourself, right? You got to have some skin in the game, and that's with cash and good credit and things like that. Cash is always king. No matter no matter what, you better have some cash in the bank.
All right. All right. So, as CEO, how do you get your team fired up about new ideas and keep everyone on the same page with your vision?
Well, when you figure that out, Larry, no, no, I'm just saying. Um, I would say the foundation for staying focused is to start with a living strategic plan, not one on the shelf, but a living, that's evolving, a mission statement that you can get people behind, core values, vision statements with visual reminders, and repeat yourself, repeat yourself, repeat yourself. I never believed that was true, that you had to repeat yourself so often, but you really do. You've got to keep this in front of your team and get buy-in. But these can't be fancy words on a page or a website. You got to live them. And it's not easy, because innovation equals change, right? And change is hard. Some people
Right.
don't like change. They flat out resist change. They don't like it because it's not their idea sometimes. But if you don't continue to evolve, you're going to die in your business. It's kind of like horse and buggies and cars. So at some point, we had to give those up, right?
Right.
You have to change. And I'm going to tell you 4 great books that have helped me time and time again, because Lord knows I've worn them out. Leading Change by John Kotter, Kotter. Many of you may be familiar with Kotter. Our
Mm-hmm.
Icebergs Melting, a funny little parable about penguins. That's a fun one. Evolve or Die by Robin Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Who Moved My Cheese, the old classic. It's
Oh,
required reading at DataFax. You have to read it your first week here, because you better have your tennis shoes on, like Sniff and Scurry, the little mice, because things are changing and we're pivoting. And don't get too comfortable with that cheese, because we're going to be eating a different one next week. You know, um,
right.
I think sometimes change can be big transformations. It can be
Mm-hmm.
a new operating platform. It can certainly be looking at and adopting ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, other AI initiatives. But I caution you, with the workplace being filled now with about 6 generations, this AI stuff can be intimidating, and don't discount that, right? Don't discount that to some people. We find sometimes our old comfortable manual processes get too embedded, and people become the roadblock, right? Because they never find the time to get around to implementing those more automated things. But you cannot cram it down people's throat, innovation and change. It's best, of course, always to have cheerleaders and early adopters and find those influential people, that second layer of people that can, persuade.
Hmm.
But once those decisions have been made, Larry, you've got to be resolute and you've got to march forward, monitor as you're marching. But I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you this, and to me, I think this is the key. This is most important. If you find people on your team unable to change, sometimes all they need is more training, right? And it's your job as the leaders to make sure that you've given them every resource and every confidence to make that change. However, if you find people on your team unwilling to change, that's a horse of a different color. Now, and they're probably even sabotaging your efforts. And in my experience, if they can't turn around pretty quick, they have to go. And I don't care what their title is or how long they've been there, if they're unwilling to change.
Yeah. Understood. Understood. We make mistakes as small businesses, and many times trying to differentiate ourselves. Are there any pitfalls that you would say we should dodge from the get-go?
Well, I kind of mentioned this before. I think that it's trying to please all the people all the time, especially if you're a younger business. You're just willing to, you just need business, but you're trying to make every customer your customer, every industry, every size, at every price point, every employee happy, every need, every time. And you just can't do it because you've got to know who you are and you've got to learn to say no. Otherwise, you're going to have a ton of chaos and a lot of manual processes and a lot of exceptions. We ran into this, we were growing, 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 growing. And we were a very large company, well, mid-size large before we sold off. We had so many exceptions to every rule we had some chaos internally. And we
Mhm.
vowed to try to, while we still have to be customer centric, we cannot have 36 flavors of every product that we offer. Um,
Right.
I think being that Me Too company is a mistake. Priority delusion is huge. You just can't pick out which thing to do next. Analysis paralysis. We've had people on our payroll where they didn't want to move forward if they couldn't get every answer to every question, every what if scenario. They just couldn't move. And sometimes you've just got to move, you know. Um, I think sometimes too, you in the name of differentiation, you're out there creating things no one even wants, right? Um, you don't want to do that, but I'm gonna tell you, I think this is one of the most important things is getting real about your hedgehog, right? So what's a hedgehog? It's that center of that Venn diagram where you find
Mhm.
what you're passionate about, what you're really good at, and maybe could be the best in the world at, and that you can make money at. And it's hard, Larry, because I might be passionate about singing, but I couldn't make a dime at it and I'm no good at it, right? Or I might could make money at making this widget, but I have no passion for it. But when you find that where those three things intersect, that's where the magic is.
Right.
That's where the magic is. And another mentor taught me a long time ago also that many times, when you're a small business and you're trying to figure out your place, a lot of times you've either got to be first to market, which is hard to do sometimes. You got to be the cheapest, which is not always a good model, or you've got to be able to really put a new spin on something that's already out there that you've made better.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So we're coming to the end, and basically, I'd like to know, without you giving up any trade secrets, what's on the horizon for DataFacts?
We are working on a few things, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to start with customer service has gotten so bad in so many industries. I don't know if y'all have experienced it, but I do. That if you can just be a little bit better than your competition, you can
Mhm.
stand to win big right now at this point in time. You don't have to
Mhm.
be miles better, not miles better, just a little bit better. And I believe that even that alone can be innovative and offer you a significant competitive advantage. But you have to define what that looks like at your company, because what I found is sometimes we all think everybody's operating off the same definition, but they're not.
Mhm.
So you've really got to define it and make it clear and hold people accountable to that. We're working deeply right now to understand our customers' evolving needs. You know, of
Okay.
course, we've always cared about their needs and made decisions, but more intently now to help us drive those new products and services. We are spending money and time integrating systems around here that don't talk to each other so we can have better data analytics to make better decisions and drive efficiencies. Um, every department we're looking at for streamlining and automation of processes, because frankly, the status quo has to go. It just has to
Right.
go. Status quo has to go. I don't want to hear any more about it. We're going to have to improve because it's hard to compete. We're all experiencing that.
Right.
Price pressures, so we're compelled to look internally because we just can't keep raising our prices on our customers. We just can't do that. But I can tell you our customer service model is under the microscope
Okay.
because we want to offer more moments of magic, no moments of mediocrity, and certainly no moments of misery. And those little phrases come from the several books that Shep Hyken has written. He's a
Right.
customer service guru. Recommend him too. Um, but I'm going to tell you, our main focus right now, beyond delving more into AI, is
Right.
enhancing and improving our customer service model and efficiencies,
Mm.
along with a few new products coming out.
I'm sure you got a few things up your sleeve.
Well,
Um,
it's kind of some biometric identity stuff is going to be coming. Um, there's so many um, problems, especially with criminal records, trying
right.
to identify, make sure you've got the right person. I sure can't say somebody's a rapist if they're not, and somebody's not if they are. And so we need more identity type products, even on the front end when candidates are applying for positions. So we've got some cool
Wow.
stuff coming on that. So just a little
How does
teasing.
how has AI impacted your industry? I mean, what types of enhancements would you see on the horizon and on the immediate horizon due to AI?
Larry, in the old days, and it actually still is this way in a lot of rural counties in America where you just had criminal records in books. If you've
Hmm.
ever been into a courthouse trying to search criminal records, it's a beast. So
Hmm.
AI has really evolved that process for much of the country. DataFax uses what we call a common sense approach. We still have feet on the street in the courthouses everywhere we need to.
Hmm.
We also have very advanced technology in what's called scraper services that are going in and scraping these counties of data if and where we've vetted it to be complete for 7 years, 10 years, or however much we need it.
Okay.
And then we're also able to use other technology into courthouses that's different from scraper services. DataFax, we're so high on the compliance, that's our thing. We're not going to automatically use everything out there because frankly, we've vetted it and it's got too many holes in it, like a Swiss
Hmm.
cheese. So we would
Okay.
miss records and we're not about to do that. It is
Right.
advancing and we're on top of that, like, day and night monitoring that. But it is advancing. But, down in Mississippi, we've still got a lot of courthouses with old manual books and a lot of other places across this country.
Wow. Wow. Well, Patricia jumped on, so I'm imagining she's keeping us on task. What you have, Patricia?
Well, first of all, Daphne, you have provided some wonderful, valuable nuggets, and I must go ahead and dust off that Who Moved My Cheese. I have not read that book in a while, but it is valuable. And we'll put together the list of books that you have suggested along with this recording. We're going to go ahead and launch into our Q&A session. And up first, Dottie, if you are on the call, you can go ahead and ask your question. And then those of you who do want to pose a question verbally, please raise your virtual hand and we will unmute you so you can ask that question. If not, you can put your question in the chat, which we're seeing some of you have already begun doing.
Thank you, Patricia. Hey, Daphne.
Mm.
First of all, a shameless plug for you. You and I have been in business about the same amount of time, and you tell people what you do, and I will tell them over and over and over again, and I will tell my clients that utilizing your services, background checking services, is the cheapest insurance that anyone will ever have for a new employee. And that's what gives you, in my opinion, a competitive edge. You're here, you're local, but you're all across the country. So unlocking that competitive edge, how long did it take you to figure out why you were different from every
I've
other
always
service?
known I was different, Dottie.
No.
Now, I'll tell you, I having come from a Fortune 500 company where there was sales and there was operations and never the two talked to each other, right?
Yep.
From day one, we said, nope, it's not going to work that way. We're going to be in tune with each other over here. Sales is going to understand operations. Operations is going to understand sales. We're going to have communication. We're not going to have silos because that ultimately leads to confusion and problems for the customer. You know, sales is out there saying we're going to do XYZ. Operations is saying we've never heard of such. And that's not right, right? We need transparency. We need honesty. We need truthfulness. We need education of the customer about what's available and let them make an informed decision. We never try to sell a customer something for our benefit. We're going to sell it for their benefit. And I think that's been at the heart of what's helped us all along.
Communication.
Absolutely. Communication.
Thank you very much. And continued awesome good luck to you and your team.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Patricia.
Welcome.
Thank you to Dottie, valuable Small Business Council member and our co-chair emeritus. Thank you, Dottie.
All right. We have any other questions to see here? What we have, what structures have you put in place to promote that alignment across service offerings?
Structure for service offerings. I'm not sure I really completely understand the question, but I would say that, you know, our service offerings are each very unique. Criminal records is not like employment and education verifications, which is not like driver monitoring services or criminal monitoring services or drug screening or occupational health. So everything is very structured. We also have specialists in those areas. So that offers a lot of structure, but we also have required mandated cross training, right? Because you can't be in a silo because you'll be crippled when people are on PTO or quit or whatever. So we do have a lot of structure led by a fantastic vice president of operations. I could never do her job. But we do have a lot of structure.
Okay. Okay. We have a question from Diamond Taylor, the founder of Friends and Company, where we specialize in social media event experiences, blending together creative with data-driven storytelling to craft compelling moments that leave a lasting impact. Okay. I'd love to know, what are the few things you've had to unlearn on your journey in order to be successful and to succeed?
I would say that, and it's it's kind of scary. It's the first thing that pops in my mind. Guess what? Not everybody's like me. Not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody has my personality. We have invested a lot of money with people like Linda Bailey, um, with the Myers-Briggs assessments, DISC assessments. I've had to learn to adopt to many other personalities. And our leadership team has to adopt to each other because that's all different. And I can tell you, if you don't get that right, you'll have a lot of dysfunction in your company. And so I've kind of had to learn, because as a driver, type A personality and a dominant personality, I mean, not everybody likes that. I don't appeal to everybody, right? So
Right.
I've got to tone it down and be more patient with other personality styles.
Okay. You've had an amazing company culture, consistently winning, best place to work. Can you tell us about your culture and the things that you do to keep employees engaged? And that comes from Pearson Crutcher.
Hey, Pearson, thank you. We do a lot of things. Not only do we volunteer together in the community, we particularly support youth villages, but we support a number of things that we'll go out and do things together. We have fun parties up here. We have get-togethers. We celebrate people's wins. We're very genuinely concerned about illnesses and things like that. But at the end of the day, we care about people, Larry. People is at the bottom. I don't know if you've ever looked at our logo, but there's a little person in it. And to me, in the world of advanced technology, I don't care how advanced the technology gets. We're still going to be a people business, people serving people. We serve our people, again, back to our foundation. If we take great care of our people, that take great care of our customers, who take great care of DataFax. And here's the deal. If you don't know people, you cannot be loyal to people, right? Whether it's
Mm.
customers or internally, right? We do fun things. We play virtual bingo. We go out. Just there's just a lot of fun things going on all the time around every holiday. But moreover, I'm going to tell you my personal opinion. I nor any leader or manager at DataFax cannot dictate culture, right? I cannot get a pizza and serve you up a slice of our culture, because I'm going to tell you what, your company is made up of different employees. People come and go. Somebody's going to quit. Somebody's going to be hired. It's the people on your team. You're going to explain to them your core values, your mission, and all that. You're going to try to get your buy-in. But ultimately, your people decide the culture they want, right? And you
Mhm.
keep trying to mold and shape. But at any given time, you've got different people, maybe. But
Right.
you've got to put up the guardrails and encourage your people about the culture you want and hope they adopt it. And
Right.
and you know, I just feel like people are going to have the culture they want, and we try to foster that.
Um, could you talk about the three T's? This comes from Maureen. She says, Daphne, I love your confidence and directness. The three T's is something that I've continued to come back to. Thank you for sharing them with me so many years ago. So, what were the three T's?
Well, when you have people on your payroll, and all of us do, and a lot of employees, sometimes you feel like they're not a good fit, or you feel like they're not doing their job. You're either going to train them, you're going to tolerate them, or you're going to terminate them. But you better do something fast. Many times we hold out so much hope for someone. And personally, it's broken my heart over the years when you see so much potential in someone and they just don't get it. They won't live into their potential. They're not doing a good job. They've been coached and coached and coached. You got to go. You got to go. I think you've got to hire slow and fire fast, but you better train them up. Don't let it be on your watch that you didn't train them. Give them every opportunity to succeed. Or you're just going to tolerate them and basically irritate all your other employees that are doing a good job. And they're
Right.
going to be mad at you for putting up with it. So you're tolerating it because maybe you don't want to have that tough conversation. You better get comfortable with that or terminate them. Those are the three T's.
Okay. Um, Cash is definitely king. And in the nonprofit world, one of the most important things is to have a rainy day fund for that a time you truly need, when you truly need. However, in the nonprofit sector, it's not us versus them or the other nonprofits in our business. We oftentimes must work together. What's one of the two things you do that you would think nonprofit businesses should take away from your presentation today?
I've served and still serve on a number of nonprofit boards. And I'm always amazed at the work that they do on the budgets they have. Um, but I do think nonprofits need to be more assertive and aggressive sometimes with their fundraising and tell their story better. Because there are some compelling stories out there. I think nonprofits need to collaborate more together sometimes because there are quite a few nonprofits in Memphis that may be doing similar things, but they're not quite big enough to make a big impact. But together they might could, and maybe put some of the egos aside and work together. Um, and I would say that, you know, even though you're a nonprofit, you're still a business. You got to run like a business. You don't have an infinite supply of money. Um, and I would say this, I have seen some nonprofits, not any I've served on, that they actually have too much cash in the bank. And I want to see that
Hmm.
cash deployed out, making a difference. I get the rainy day fund, but come on. Do you really need a whole year or two's worth of operating expenses? Probably not. I mean, it's not like you're going to come into a total dry well. So deploy that money out in the community and make a difference.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's see if we got any more questions. None there. None there. Patricia?
Well, I think Diamond Taylor wanted to ask a question, but we don't see it in the chat yet. But Diamond, if you want us to unmute you, you can do that. Okay, so the question about the sacrifice you made on the way, have you already asked that, Larry? I don't think you have.
What was that? Go ahead.
So for Diamond Taylor, it's what's one sacrifice that you made on the way that you still think about, either because it was painful or because in looking back, you've made a different choice.
I would say that as an entrepreneur over 35 years, we've certainly had a lot of challenges. And I've always believed the buck stops here. And while I've always been the majority shareholder of DataFax, I had a very significant minority shareholder. And there were times, particularly in the 2008, 2009 financial meltdown, that we had to make tough choices. But we were taking the financial hit personally. We were cutting our salaries. Had no salary for a few months in there, but our team never knew it. Our team never knew it. We never had a layoff. We did cut cost. We did things. And I think it goes back to making those tough, hard choices up front. I've never regretted it. I'm a risk taker, and I've never regretted any of the decisions we've made. We've always been fair. It's a strong core value of ours. Um, but I think entrepreneurs have to be willing to take the hit, and you better have the cash to do it. Because when things turn around, you're going to need that team. You do not lay them off unless you absolutely have to. You take the hit. Um, because you're going to need them when you bounce back. That happened in 2008, 2009, but DataFax survived. Man, we came out of that crisis smelling like a rose, which was a miracle because companies like ours went out of business because of we were exclusively in that time in the mortgage credit reporting business. Mortgage brokers went out of business overnight. You all remember, but our book of business was mortgage bankers, and they largely survived. That was a godsend for us. But it was rough because all their originations was down. I'll say COVID was the same thing. COVID, we had our first leadership meeting in February of 2020. We were making cuts and changes by March. Hell, half the rest of the country was still even wondering if it was just going to last a couple of weeks. We were already in action. We united, we stood. When COVID hit, nobody was doing background checks. They were, hell, they were like trying to figure out should they hire people. But on the flip side, our mortgage lending solutions was soaring. Interest rates were zero. So we had this crazy thing going on. This side is dying and this side is soaring. But we took cuts. The highest paid people took cuts. we had to make those tough decisions quickly. Nobody complained. Our team was united. Sometimes crisis bring you together, you know. And so we were happy with those decisions. They were tough decisions, but we did what we had to do. And then when we got back in full swing, we paid everybody their money back. That we had, that everybody took a pay cut, but we paid them all back, and everybody was thrilled with that. But you got to make those tough calls.
Wow. Did anyone show you anything that was really surprising during that time? And how did you handle it when you go through those tough times?
I think it's really united you stand, divided you fall. People showed me their resilience, their commitment, their fortitude, their and we cared deeply about our customers that were struggling. We had a lot of big hotel chains. We had big retail chains. They were dying, closing stores, not hiring. People asking us, like we had massive companies telling us they couldn't pay their bill. Could we extend them 120-day or 6-month terms? Okay, we're
Mhm.
sitting over here, little data facts compared to them, but we said yes, right? And it was that partnership that they so appreciated. And again, because we had cash, we weren't hurting, but we knew from an ongoing monthly basis we had to make changes. We still had goals and aspirations, and you can't drain all your cash, right? You can't do that. But people showed me fortitude, and resilience, and it was amazing, amazing.
Right. Fantastic.
Well,
Patricia?
Daphne, thank you so much for all that you've shared today. Well, I want to ask you, Daphne, if anyone has any additional questions, can we field those questions to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
You
perfect.
know me, I love to talk.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll send you all the recording as well as the list of those must-read books for your professional development. We want to say thank you to our co-chairs, Larry Robinson and Meredith Hennessy, of course, Daphne Large, and all of the think tank members on this call. They are the fuel behind the programming, us meeting once a month trying to figure out how can we best serve our small businesses. Thank you all for your leadership. And every one of you on this particular call, thank you for switching to virtual today. We appreciate you for being flexible, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.